Hey folks, and welcome back to Glenn and Adrian's Rock Talk. That's Adrian.
And that's Glenn.
And today we're going to continue our look at Witches Fest, featuring The Warning as a band that's on this little stage with some issues, apparently. We don't know what the issues are, but they are dressed up so well, and the whole thing is just kind of unusual in a way. I mean, beyond the fact that it's Dia de los Muertos, that we wanted to take another look at it and keep going. So today we're looking at Ugh and Red Hands Never Fade, which are the next two songs on the set list. Adrian, what did you think of the first group of songs and situations that we saw from this gig?
It was pretty interesting to watch, the drum takes, just the way they were dressed for that too, because that last one was the first one that we saw. I know we also did the one in 2022. They definitely look different in this one.
Yeah, it is a very different type of performance. It was billed as Witches Fest. It was played in a venue called Salón de Eventos Cowboy in Rio Verde. There were some serious technical difficulties after Dust to Dust and before Unmendable, but they worked it out. Dani did her thing, got up on the mic. You know, we've seen her do it recently. Same thing. Engage the crowd for a while they deal with the issues. All right, let's go ahead and check this out. We'll stop in the middle after Ugh.
for the first time how Ali is sporting the shades instead of the makeup.
I was wondering about that. I think it actually is makeup. I was wondering about that. Yeah. I think that it's actually makeup. I could be wrong. We'll take another look, in the next song. But yeah, that had me looking too, because I thought at first that it was. But no, I think it's just really good makeup. A good makeup job.
Very good. It looks like there's actually sunglasses on her.
Yeah, I mean, I had to look a couple of times myself, and that was my conclusion. We'll see if I was right or not. Folks, place your bets now, and we'll see. But couple things. I noticed a tiny mistake by Ali towards the beginning. I wouldn't point it out except that they're so rare that I almost feel like I need to. The photographer coming up out of nowhere in the middle of the stage, didn't like that at all. That was not, and I don't think the crew did either. The crew's like, hey, no, don't do that. Do not do that. Do not cross the stage in the middle of the band like that. I think it was good that he got scolded on that. Still a little close, frankly. I mean, it's not a big stage. He's right there on top, basically on top of Pow. He's like 4 feet away. And, be a little further away, I would say, in general. Or maybe this was some type of learning experience about, where to allow photographers to be when they're photographing the show. Something like that. Because at first I was like, what the? You're like, who's this guy in the big black parka? What's happening here? And no, it's like, no, that wasn't supposed to happen. That was my thought on that, folks, if you have a different thought on it. Danny, she literally walked right up to the guy or whoever it was that was recording the show. I assume it's a member of the audience because we've seen Rudy. I don't know who took that footage, but she was about as close as you could possibly get. She was about, a foot away from the camera right there, doing, which I thought was cool. You got to really see what she was doing, up close and personal. And her energy level is great. I like that she's jumping up and down, getting air.
We always like that.
Yeah, it's a good thing for sure. It looks like they're still dealing with some issues. Right at the end of the clip, the crew guy came back out again and was handling something else around Pow's kit. So with that setup, why don't we go into Red Hands Never Fade?
Alrighty.
And see what happens here. So far, it's a fascinating show for the things that shouldn't have happened, as well as, the other. I mean, it's cool. It's great hearing them play, and it's great seeing the makeup and everything, but this is quite an unusual thing we're seeing. All right, let us continue. What do you think they're talking about?
Pow needs a lot of water probably from playing the drums and makeup and everything, I thought I was going to have a hard time seeing the faces, the crazy facial expressions I'm always talking about, but that shines right through the makeup.
Yeah, yeah.
You couldn't be farther from the truth.
Probably by design. They probably knew, you know, we're going to make sure people can see our expressions. You can pretty well tell because the eyes are highlighted with all that shadow around them, you know, and so when you go like that, you really notice, you know, and then you've got the extended smile, you know, with the stitches and everything. And yeah. So it's actually a pretty good look to have if you want people to see your reactions, you know, your emotions. Pau up there looks just like a dancer, really. I mean, everything she's doing there, you know, like that. It's all very graceful, you know, the way she does it. And so it's like she's dancing, you know, up there. I could tell in particular with this show. So the other things going on here, there's just too much going on this stage, you know, because of the tech issues. Yes, I mean, I know the tech has to be up there. He's got to work with the stuff. But it is, considering the size of the stage and how close the camera is and everything, it is kind of distracting, you know. And it's hard for him to move around because everything's so scrunched in like that. Like he really had to maneuver carefully to get around the drum kit. I feel kind of bad for him. Now, Rudy, he's up there. Okay, he's taking footage of Pau, but honestly, I think he should have stepped back a little further so that he wasn't right there. You know, and maybe that's why the other photographer that we saw show up and just march right through the middle of the stage, which is a big no-no for anybody out there who's a photographer. Maybe he just thought, well, it's okay, you know, these other guys milling around, why not? You know, but it's kind of breaking the illusion a little bit to have so much up. You know, you got three guys moving around up there among them. It does take away a little bit from the performance, I think. And there's not much that you can do about the tech issues. He's got to do what he's got to do. But yeah, Rudy, I would say, and I think he learned, because I don't remember ever seeing Rudy this close in later videos. So that's good. And so far, we haven't seen the other guy yet. Maybe he's gone now. Maybe he's like, okay, get out of here. It's hard to say. Just a fascinating scene unfolding before our very eyes here. You know. But if you have anything that you can share, by all means, please do so. And in the meantime, why don't you let us know what you thought of this and what your own thoughts are on all of this. Do you think we're nuts for getting down on the photographer? You know, would just be curious about your thoughts. And of course, if you have other suggestions, you can leave those below as well. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you enjoyed our presentation, please subscribe. All right. Thanks so much for joining us on this. And we will catch you on the next one. All right. Take care, folks.
See you all later.